Now, Van Hechter, to finish off, 10 spontaneous questions. Don't
right.
worry, I'll give you a martini.
Oh. Oh,
You
good.
still drink martinis, don't
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And it's red. What is it? Is it
I'm not sure.
is it
maybe
cranberry or
myself,
something more
but,
fancy?
Probably cranberry.
All right.
or something.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To my health. Yes.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So maybe touching other subjects. So
Yes.
as you actually mentioned, you're getting engaged soon.
No, I got engaged in.
Oh, you got
in,
engaged.
in August.
Sorry.
I got engaged.
Sorry. So congratulations again. So how is this going to affect your life?
Oh, I never thought. I hung as long as I could in single town. You know, I tried, but then I just sometimes you meet someone who's great, and then they sort of they convince you. And now I'm getting married. This is terrible. This is a terrible thing to say. I really like being single, but I think that for the right person, it's worth making that kind of commitment. We're getting married on October 26th, actually, in Montreal.
Oh, good, congratulations. So I suppose
You're invited.
find the
Will,
right
will you
person.
come?
Oh, thank you. Sure,
Will
it
you
would be a
come?
pleasure.
Okay. All right.
And
I'll sit you next to someone nice.
oh, thank you. Is it going to affect your music at all, or do you think?
All right. I've started writing album 3 already, and I think I would say that musically, 70% of it is ready. Album 3 is really about a big breakup that I had. During my cancer, I lived a huge breakup. And without being clear about who it is and how it happened, this whole third album is about that. So it's a lot of anger and the natural steps that you live through when you are sort of like going, sort of going through a divorce. Perhaps album 4, because by then I will be married and there will be things that I will want to say. I'm someone who says about 60% of how I usually say how I feel. I'm quite candid, but all that I can't say is in the songs, and it's almost code language. You really have to know me to understand who I'm talking about, what it's about. The rest of the people sort of see it, I think, for the humor that I bring into my songs. I think album 4 will be about my new status of husband, which is going to be very, very new, and I'm sure quite challenging because it's work. It's work.
And if I'm not mistaken, your husband is from overseas, so how?
Well, I could never meet someone that was. I mean, come on. In the end, my mother, the Georgian side of me, wants some sort of. Is asking for. My father was French, as you know, and my mother, the Georgians, and I mean, come on. It's like clearly I was going to end up meeting someone from Europe. I love Americans. They're wonderful, but I was just for building a life together. I was obviously going to end up with someone from the east of Europe, something like that. This just seems so natural to me now.
So, I mean...
now that I look back, I'm like, of course, this was going to be the person I marry.
Okay, so you don't expect any big cultural issues between yourselves because of different backgrounds?
I think that obviously there are differences, and thank God, because then you're not bored with one another. But I think that in terms of values and way of living, I met someone who actually reminds me a lot of my mother's side of the family, and then a little bit of what I got. As you know, I went to a European-style school, and he was raised in those schools as well, so we kind of have these upbringing in common.
I see.
Makes a huge difference to build a life and to say, perhaps we shall raise children together. Do we agree? And then the answer is not, perhaps not on everything, but yes, we will eventually agree on the basis.
And he doesn't object of you drinking martinis, I
Or I'm sure he thinks well, I'm not sure, I know, everyone who knows me knows that I like alcohol way too much, but since it hasn't had an effect on my health yet, and I do have very healthy living habits, it's all right. It's all right for now. You have to have vices. I have 2 vices.
Oh, what is the other one then?
I don't want to tell you. Anybody who's met me knows.
Well, you know, you're not supposed to take the fifth on this question.
I'm not answering you. Maybe kids are listening.
Okay. So, talking about kids, like if you end up having kids, or even like actually for any kids out here, is there anything that you would be proud of having kids learning from you, either as a person or from your music?
Self-respect and not taking yourself seriously, but yes, respecting yourself. So don't think you're the end of the world, you're such hot shit, you're not. We're all, numbers. And but on the other hand, do respect yourself. And if you are a certain way, if you like certain things, if you just respect yourself, just follow who you are and try to become as much as you possibly can, try to become yourself. Who you were meant to be, and who not meant in terms of God meant you to, but just who you feel that is you, really. Don't listen too much to exterior voices, just try to follow your own path. That would, but then don't start preaching and taking yourself too seriously through that either, because then we know what happens. You turn into a freaking guru, which really annoys me. Or Dr. Phil. Yeah. Sorry, Dr. Phil. I mean, I'm sure he's not all bad, but he just annoys me. Yeah.
Well, let's change the subject.
Sorry.
So, I'm currently filming you, and I see a lot of black. Is that your favorite color?
No, well, is black a color even?
What?
I like color. Look. But I think that black is the best to highlight color. So, you'll see in my apartment, actually I have a very, very colorful apartment now. We just redid it completely, and it's extremely colorful, but with a lot of black to it sort of sits everything down. My father, who was a hairdresser and also a stylist, always said I keep a black shirt in my closet and he had the most ridiculous colors. He had yellow and red and sometimes fuchsia, and he was like a bit much in the color department. But he always said, I keep a black shirt in my closet at each time to sort of sit and make and set all the other colors. I think this is what I do.
No, again.
You're not going to have red leather. Come on. I like my leather black. Sure, I just like but there's color underneath.
No, in another department, if there was anything you could change about yourself, what would it be? Or are you perfect?
Nobody's perfect, but what would you change? It's different. If I could change something about myself, I'd be more understanding. Sometimes I'm not. I am at times, and at other times I'm just not. And I wish I were wiser that way.
Uh-huh. And, well, in the...
This is your reaction? Uh-huh.
I'm just interviewing, Um, no, in this same well style of question, so to speak. If you were an animal, what animal would that be?
I always said I'd be a monkey. And monkeys are like that. They're very, like, they're cool and smart, but then they're impatient and sometimes they're total bitches. Like, they'll throw stones at the weak one, or they're just suddenly they don't like something and they just go crazy. And, you know, I kind of am like that. I hope that in time I change. I think that the more, obviously, if you work to better yourself, you end up a better person, but some traits remain. And maybe this is one of the things that I'm just going to be still disappointed, still thinking it would need improvement even in 50 years.
I see. Talking about improvement, you know,
I'm having a sip now because I so know the question. I can so know the question that's coming.
You know, I asked you if you 2 questions ago if you would change anything about yourself, and then you talked to me about your reply was about your character.
Yeah. It's more important.
No, it is definitely. But let's say a funny question. But if you would ever have plastic surgery, what would you get done?
Who says I haven't? I'll tell you what I will do. All right, do injection counts? Do injections count?
Whatever.
No, but is that plastic surgery?
I suppose.
This, like, to me, it's enhancement. So, but so I believe in fluffing whatever's too saggy, just plumping it up a bit. I believe in that. I think it's great, and you know, some people don't do it, some people do it. But aside from, I'm more of a, I kind of think you should sort of do with what you already have, and I don't believe in drastic alterations. So I'll tell you 2 things that I'll get done in time when necessary. When I get big bags under my eyes, I'm going to get that done. Regardless whether I'm a singer or not anymore at that point, that's something that I'll get done. And the turkey waddle, that like sort of comes after a while, you know, in your 60s, that thing when like everyone sees this when you're sort of on the side and you just can't do anything about it, I'll get that done. The rest, the wrinkles, I wish to keep. You get good teeth also, if that could count for surgery. Just try to get your teeth as good as possible.
So I'm not sure how far the count is, but we probably approximately at around 10. So maybe one last question related to what we just discussed.
Okay.
So do you think the look of an artist is important, or is it just about his art and it shouldn't
depends
matter?
what kind of art you perform. I don't think that perhaps if you're a painter, it doesn't matter. You're just doing the painting, and your art is painting. I think that in pop music, then the image is as important as the rest. At this point, we've come to accept that we have to make videos. We've come to I see my. I mean, I'm not. When I go out to do something that's music related, I think of my image, and it's not the same image as you will sort of come across if you find me shopping for carrots on a Sunday morning after the gym. For me, it has to be consistent, so I kind of like have the same image for my videos, and when I write songs, when I do an album like Ambitions and Happiness, I was into sort of like the rockabilly, a bit 50s feel and late 70s Freddie Mercury. Well, now that I'm still in that phase. This is still the album is still being promoted. Well, I'm still wearing my Perfecto, and I put on something that made me think of sort of like 1979 Freddie Mercury-ish. I think, anyway, for me, it all sort of has to come together, and it all has to be the same theme.
Okay, so thank you very much. You answered most of the questions. So
yeah, well, I mean, you know, and except that one, there's just a one. Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you.
See you soon.